For years, scientists believed the Megalodon was essentially just a supersized version of the great white shark. Bigger, more terrifying, but built on the same blueprint. But recent findings in 2025 have completely overturned that assumption. Our understanding of this prehistoric giant has been flipped on its head. Today, we're diving into what Megalodon was really like and how scientists managed to get it so wrong for so long. The accidental discovery. The story begins in 1666 when two Italian fishermen captured an enormous shark. Its size caused quite a stir, prompting a local duke to send the specimen to a Danish scientist named Niels Steno. Steno wasn't fixated on the shark's size. What fascinated him were its teeth. They looked strikingly similar to strange triangular stones that people had been discovering for centuries. At the time, many believed those stones were fossilized dragon tongues or snake tongues, creative explanations from an era when natural phenomena were often wrapped in myth. Steno proposed something radically different. What if those dragon tongues were actually ancient shark teeth preserved in rock over millions of years? That insight was groundbreaking. Steno had essentially uncovered the true nature of fossils, reshaping the course of science, all because he paid close attention to a shark's teeth. So how does this connect to Megalodon? In every possible way. Sharks don't have traditional bones. Their skeletons are made of cartilage, the same flexible material found in your nose and ears. When sharks die, that cartilage usually breaks down instead of fossilizing. Teeth, however, are another story. Sharks shed teeth constantly. Megalodon was no exception. It had 276 teeth in its mouth at once, some measuring up to 7 inches long, longer than a smartphone. Like modern sharks, it replaced teeth continuously throughout its life. Scientists estimate a single Megalodon may have gone through as many as 40,000 teeth over its lifetime. Multiply that by the species' 19 million year reign at the top of the ocean food chain, and you get sea floors littered with enormous teeth, many of which eventually fossilized. In fact, those fossilized teeth make up almost everything we know about Megalodon. The species was even named after them. Megalodon comes from Greek, meaning big tooth. Simple name, massive legacy. For decades, researchers studied these massive teeth, trying to figure out what kind of animal Megalodon actually was, and they got it wrong, really wrong. The big mistake. In 1835, a scientist named Louis Agassiz officially named Megalodon and classified it in the same family as great white sharks. His reasoning? The teeth looked similar. Both had large, triangular, serrated teeth, perfect for ripping flesh. So everyone assumed Megalodon was just a supersized great white. Made sense, right? Similar teeth, similar shark, just way bigger. In 1996, researchers built a complete skeletal reconstruction based on this theory. They gave Megalodon the stocky, muscular body of a great white shark, just scaled up to monster proportions. Based on the teeth they'd found, they estimated that Megalodon grew to about 50 to 60 feet long at most. That's already insanely huge, 3 times bigger than the largest great whites alive today. Everyone accepted this version. Movies showed it this way, museums built models, documentaries featured it. For decades, this was the truth. There was just one tiny problem. Almost everything about it was completely wrong. The teeth don't lie. In the early 2000s, scientists made another discovery. The teeth weren't really that similar to great white teeth after all. The serrations were shaped differently. A scientist named Kevin Nyberg basically proved that Megalodon teeth and great white teeth were completely different. By 2019, scientists officially moved Megalodon out of the great white family tree entirely and put it in a completely different extinct shark family. Turns out, Megalodon's closest relatives weren't great whites, but a group of ancient sharks that went extinct millions of years ago. So scientists had spent decades building their entire understanding of Megalodon on a family connection that didn't actually exist. That's embarrassing, but it gets worse, way worse. Everything was wrong. The real bombshell dropped in 2025 when a team of 28 international scientists decided to re-examine the fossils. They had something previous researchers didn't have access to: an exceptionally well-preserved set of fossilized vertebrae from Belgium, actual spine bones from a real megalodon. This was huge. Most of our knowledge came from teeth alone. Teeth can tell you some things, but they can't tell you how an animal's body was actually shaped or proportioned. But vertebrae, that's different. That reveals the actual body structure. So this team measured everything. They compared the megalodon spine to over 165 different species of living and extinct sharks. They built computer models, they ran complex calculations, and they discovered that basically everything we thought about Megalodon was wrong. First shock, Megalodon was way bigger than we thought. The old estimates said 50 to 60 feet maximum. The new research showed some megalodons reached over 80 feet long and weighed around 200,000 pounds. That's nearly as big as a blue whale. We're talking about something the length of a commercial airplane that could swim. Absolutely ridiculous. But the size wasn't even the biggest revelation. The shape was completely wrong too. The real Megalodon. Remember how everyone thought Megalodon looked like a buff, stocky great white? Yeah, that's not right at all. The new research revealed Megalodon was much more streamlined and sleek. It had a shorter, flatter snout, different jaw structure, much longer pectoral fins. Basically, Megalodon didn't look like a great white at all. It looked more like a massive lemon shark, which has a completely different body type. This matters because body shape determines everything about how an animal moves and hunts. Great whites have that stocky build for a reason. They're ambush predators. They hide near the bottom, wait for prey to pass overhead, then explode upward in a burst of speed for a surprise attack. This completely changes how we understand Megalodon's behavior. It probably wasn't lurking near coastlines ambushing seals. It was cruising through open ocean, covering massive distances, hunting the enormous whales that swam in prehistoric seas. And that streamlined shape explains something else: how it got so unbelievably massive in the first place. The mystery of extinction. So we've established the real Megalodon was bigger, shaped differently, and way more advanced than great white sharks in basically every way, which makes its extinction even more confusing. How did something so dominant just disappear? For a long time, scientists thought maybe the Megalodon went extinct when the Ice Ages hit. 3.6 million years ago, a massive number of marine mammals went extinct in a very short time. Whales, dolphins, porpoises. Over half of all large marine mammals disappeared. Megalodon's buffet was closing down, and remember, this thing needed thousands of pounds of food every single day. When prey started vanishing, Megalodon was in serious trouble. Making things worse, it suddenly had competition from a smaller, more efficient predator that needed way less food to survive: the great white shark. Great whites evolved to be lean, efficient hunters. They needed much less prey. When food became scarce, they had a huge advantage over the massive megalodonic Megalodon. The Mariana Trench myth. Now for the question everyone really wants answered. Could Megalodons still be alive, lurking somewhere in the deep ocean? Here's the honest answer. No. Megalodon is extinct. If a predator that enormous were still swimming around today, we would have undeniable evidence. Massive apex predators don't just hide quietly. They leave marks on ecosystems. They shape food chains. With modern satellites, research vessels, deep-sea submersibles, and thousands of marine biologists studying the oceans, we would have found physical proof by now. When Megalodon vanished, other predators quickly filled the gap. Orca populations rose to dominance, and the great white shark became one of the ocean's top hunters. Whale species also grew much larger once the constant threat of Megalodon disappeared. If Megalodon were still out there, that dramatic ecological shift wouldn't have happened. And what about the Mariana Trench theory? It sounds dramatic, but it falls apart under scrutiny. The deep ocean simply doesn't provide enough food to sustain a predator that would require thousands of pounds of meat every single day. There just isn't the energy down there to support something that size. So no, Megalodon isn't hiding in the depths. It's gone. But honestly, the real story is far more fascinating than any survival myth. An 80-foot super predator dominating the oceans for nearly 20 million years, only to eventually succumb to changing climates and evolutionary pressures. That's incredible all on its own. And there you have it. If you enjoyed discovering how wrong we once were about this prehistoric giant, make sure to like the video and subscribe for more deep dives into the strange, mysterious, and misunderstood creatures that once ruled our planet. Thanks for watching.